I didn't realize, of course, that until many, many days later, I had read that we had lost all steering and stopping abilities. But it wasn't until years later that I understood the importance of my prayer. I will tell you, though, that immediately afterwards, even in the hospital that same night, as I was roaming the halls, having suffered second-degree burns on my face and arms and legs, and pondering why this had happened and how I was going to resolve this and make this part of my life, I realized that I was on that plane for a reason. Even on that first day. And one of the reasons is that the night before I had been praying and feeling actually rather defeated in my faith. I'd been praying that the Lord would just take me, all of me, and use me for his kingdom and for his kingdom's work. I had been feeling like, wow, I just didn't feel like I was really a very sort of compelling or exciting witness for God, and that I wasn't seeing a whole lot of interest in faith by the friends and family around me. And I just wondered, I felt pretty useless to the kingdom. And so I the night before, I prayed, Lord, anything you want me to do, I just want to be used by you. And I believe actually that having been placed on 2 earlier flights that day and ultimately placed on this one, this was one of the ways that he was answering my prayer, because he answered my prayers for the pilot's hand in ways that were quite miraculous. It wasn't until actually 13 years after the plane crash when I met a United pilot, and I shared with him my story about praying for the pilot's hands, when he stopped me and he said, "Wait, Helen, you have just explained the mystery of Flight 232. And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "You were on that plane and you were praying." And I said, "Right." And he said, "You don't understand. Tens of thousands of flight simulations have occurred, and not one has been able to get to the runway. Not one has been able to even recreate being on the runway." And he said, "What has always mystified the aviation world is how in the world the pilots could steer that plane." And you see, for the first time in aviation history, the pilots were able to calibrate their hands. They realized, they learned in the moment that if they gunned the left engine and they gunned the right engine and they gunned the left engine and they gunned the right engine, that they could, by varying the thrust of the 2 remaining engines, they could actually pull it out of that permanent right-hand turn and steer the plane somewhat. Well, they decided to shoot for Sioux City, Iowa. But what has mystified the aviation community ever since then is how in the world could they land? Because as my pilot friend told me, it is humanly impossible to calibrate the hands so that you can actually land the plane. And I realized that I was on the plane to pray the prayer that God answered, which miraculously spared so many people. And so I believe that I'm a walking miracle.